Former President Donald Trump has been found guilty on all 34 felony counts. Many Wyoming politicians, including the governor, have made statements about the verdict. And now our William Langston finds out what locals in Cheyenne think of the results of the trial and if the verdict will have an influence on their votes come November.
Now that the guilty verdict is in for Donald Trump, we're finding out if this historic conviction of a former president will influence Wyoming voters come November.
I was very sad about the judicial process. I was not going to support Trump, but I will now.
Donna Weaver has lived in Cheyenne for 30 years and explained that although she's not certain about the guilty verdict, she believes the case was not handled properly.
I listened to a lot of it and did not agree with the way that the judge handled it. I don't know if he was guilty or not, but I don't like the way that it was handled.
Another Cheyenne local, Dennis Freeman, was surprised by the guilty verdict.
I'm surprised, frankly, that we got a unanimous verdict on all 34 counts. I have to say I'm not happy to find that a former president of the United States did things that resulted in that, but I agree with the verdict.
Dennis added that his vote will not change because of the guilty verdict.
I have made up my mind long ago, well before the 2016 election. I knew how I was going to vote, and it wasn't for Donald Trump.
Others, like Giovanni Torino, says he believes that Donald Trump is the best candidate for the job.
I feel like Trump's definitely the best option. You know, it'd help with the immigrant problem and definitely our economy.
Brian Glowatz, another Cheyenne local, believes that the Cowboy State should stand behind Trump come November.
Man, I think it's sad, man. You know, it's a sad day for America. We should stick with Trump, honestly. I think he's the best option over Biden and any other of those crooked guys.
William Langston, your Wyoming Link, Cheyenne.
Our state leaders also weighing in and speaking out about former President Donald Trump's historic guilty verdict. And here's what they had to say shortly after he was convicted. Governor Mark Gordon shared in a statement on Facebook, quote, "I am extraordinarily disappointed that our justice system is being used so obviously in an attempt to influence our elections. Voters will choose the next president, not a New York jury. This case has damaged Americans' confidence in an impartial judiciary." And U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman released an official statement saying, quote, "Today, justice was not served. Judge Juan Merchant, an activist judge whose daughter has made over $9 million from the Biden-Harris campaign, presided over a trial where he blocked key witnesses' testimony and facts by the defense and provided slanted jury instructions prior to the jury deliberating the case. The case was brought after the statute of limitations had passed and was elevated to a felony by a district attorney that campaigned on, quote, getting Trump. Now, she continued by saying, quote, "This entire infuriating episode is the liberal Democrats' desperate gasp to win a presidential election that they will ultimately lose. The American people will see this for what it is. Donald Trump will ultimately have the verdict overturned on appeal. And we must all ensure that this abuse of the legal system is never allowed to happen again." Meanwhile, Senator Cynthia Lummis also shared her thoughts on the conviction in a quote that reads, "This hasn't been a trial. This has been a biased political persecution from the start. Democrats' ability to successfully weaponize our judicial system to silence a political opponent should scare every single American. This is a dark day for our republic and does irreparable damage to Americans' trust in our judicial system by undermining the Constitution for political gain."